It's always at the back of my mind. I know it can come back, but I've got the team behind me and I know that they will sort it out.
Sometimes I still cry about it, you do still cry about it, but I think it's okay to cry. You've been through a really bad time.
The recurrence rate with adrenocortical carcinoma is high, and we know that even after successful surgery with no evidence of residual disease, there is always the chance of recurrence. Generally, the chances of recurrence is highest within the first 3 years. Patients who recur outside of that, so beyond 3 years, generally have much less aggressive disease and tend to do quite well and actually can live for many years with their disease and lead normal quality of life. However, it's always important to follow up with scans.
On the one hand, it's a little intrusive. On the other hand, it's a comfort. And the fact that they're going to do regular monitoring, like I said, is a little comforting because it's something that once it does start to come back, you don't know how fast it's going to grow. So I'm always very aware that that's something that could happen again. So yeah, I think it's more of a comfort knowing somebody's watching.
When I'm coming up to scans, I suffer badly with scanxiety. It's just the anxious time between knowing a scan's due, has it come back, and then you've got the time waiting from having the scan to getting the results. It's always at the back of my mind. I know it can come back, but I've got the team behind me and I know that they will sort it out.
There's still this high risk of it reoccurring. The only thing we can sort of do is, as and when it raises its ugly head again, is to see what we can do then. Physically, I feel okay, except for the anxiety attacks, but you know, I have to live with that. I think it's talking to people, it seems to be quite common.
Part of understanding ACC is also understanding the effects of hormones, of the overproduction of hormones by the tumor cells. And for example, if a patient has too much cortisol in blood, that can affect their mood, how they're feeling, that can increase depression, anxiety, being angry. And it is important that the relatives and the people around the patient understand this, that the hormones can have an impact on how the patient reacts and feels.
It doesn't go away, and there are times when I'm on my own where sometimes I still cry about it, you do still cry about it, but I think it's okay to cry. You've been through a really bad time.
I've lived my entire life very healthy. Eat right, I'm a vegetarian. That's when I got the diagnosis. I was just like, okay, this is wrong. I did everything right. I did everything they say on the internet to do to avoid cancer, and I still got it. So this is like really, really wrong. Obviously this can hit anybody, but everyone in my family has always lived to be in their 80s and 90s, so you know, I fully intend to do the same.
Sometimes actually the patient themselves can actually absorb the news well, and it's the families that struggle. So part of our job as a clinician is to manage that. I would recommend that they get in contact with ACC Support UK, and then to make sure they're being seen in a centre where there's lots of experience of this condition, and to try and have a positive outlook, because as I said, it's not always doom and gloom with this diagnosis.
It is very difficult to cope with the diagnosis of cancer in general. Yeah, but I feel it is sometimes more difficult for patients with ACC, as they cannot tap into resources that are available for others, like patients with breast cancer or patients with leukemia. This is why it's so great that ACC Support UK are working with us and others to generate information for patients. I think it's very important for patients to connect with other patients who are affected by ACC, because then you can meet other patients and compare experiences.
Because it's a rare cancer, a lot of the medical profession don't know much about it, and it's good because you've got the experts there, you've got other patients that are going through the same as you've been through, it's easier to talk to them because they understand what I've gone through and I understand what they're going through.
Just knowing that there's somebody there that if you want to, you can talk to. It's okay to be frightened, to be scared. I had periods when I was quite tearful about things, and I think it's reasonable.
Don't give up hope. There's answers out there. There's good surgeons and good medical teams out there, and the ACC support is there specifically for you and to help you through your journey.
I've made friends there now that I will probably be friends with forever because they've been part of this journey with me. You form a bond with some of these people that no one else can understand, only you can understand.
It's like having your own little community. It's like having friends you didn't know you had, who are all experiencing some version of the same thing. And it's like when you meet, you're already friends. It's an amazing feeling.